Okay, this is a take 2. I'm still experimenting with sound. So let's see how this goes. And it was good morning when I did it before. It's good afternoon now. And my first comment is related to my last video, which was on metamessages, which has really come into the news today. Excuse me. I have actually skipped some days recording because my voice has been so croaky. I had a cough all last week, and coughs have taken on a new significance in life. But I really think it was just a cold cough. I take the view that if I've got something not okay with me, just wait a while, and it's either going to get worse and you need to do something about it, or it'll get better. I think I probably take that view on quite a lot of things in life. So my thinking about metamessages really came to the fore last night in the UK, particularly where the Minister for Health in Scotland eventually resigned because she'd been giving out messages about people staying at home. And in the meantime, she had, on the previous 2 weekends, been taking a drive with her family to her second home, which was some distance away from her home in Edinburgh. And so her messages, which are so important to people right now, to stay at home, to not mix with others publicly, to not travel unnecessarily. So her actions were completely at odds with that, a completely incongruent message. And so the meta message was, oh, you can tweak the rules, you don't really have to follow them. And of course, that's exactly what they wish to avoid at the moment. And similarly, the First Minister didn't seem to act on the accountability for that straight away. They left it a day before eventually she resigned. I believe she'd offered her resignation straight away, but had been persuaded to hold off. I was thinking, well, is the meta message always more important? Usually more important? I'm not sure, I'll explore that. But the meta message was far more. And they had said, well, she'd been the constant voice of these messages and she was an expert in this field and they wanted to continue. But she had now, if you like, completely diluted the gravitas, the impact of the messages that she was giving. It was the meta message that had to be acted on, in my opinion, and has been now. Then the other thing that's really been on my mind, I've been reflecting on. And yesterday I walked out. I mean, I usually cycle if I can, but I can't cycle here. It's banned at the moment. We can walk within a kilometre of our homes. And so I walked down to the post office, and it was a beautiful, beautiful day. I walked down to post a card to my granddaughter, one of my granddaughters. And the road, I took mainly back roads. And one point when I was on the sort of main road, it was deserted. And the village was deserted. And it was beautiful. And all I could hear were bird song. The sky was incredibly, just totally clear blue. There were no vapor trails, no clouds. There was a beautiful warm breeze, and it just felt especially clean, the air. And I thought, wow, if it wasn't for the circumstances in the world as a whole, I would wish for it to be like this. I love this state of quiet and isolation. I don't wish all the harm and all the grief and all the illness that's affecting so many people right now. I was very alarmed to hear this morning that there was a case of the virus in Dharavi, the slums in Mumbai, where I have visited. I just don't see how they could possibly stop the spread of that in those conditions. So that's and I have a special friend there who was our guide in those slums. So yeah, I feel for everybody we're all affected by it. So when I kind of separate myself from what's happening in the wider world, the immediate circumstances are really quite beautiful, in terms of just the space that's being given to nature. And as I was walking, certain things kind of came to mind, and I remembered watching a series on TV a long time ago. I was probably just in my teens, I think, early teens when I saw it. It was called Survivors. And it was about the people who survived a virus that hit the whole of the world and killed much of the population. And there were scenes in that I found fascinating. Absolutely. It was the scenes of survival of the main character and how she found herself at some point in this country home, and with hot water. And I remember her being cooked a breakfast there. So she had fried eggs. And it's interesting because there's a shortage of eggs in the UK at the moment, I believe. And my neighbour's passing them over the wall between us, like a dozen at a time. So I am giving them to people, but I've got this incredible surplus of eggs. Living in the country, and his whole garden is dedicated to vegetables, and I grow vegetables. And it's a very privileged place to be. But I thought about that series and how long ago it was when I saw it, and how that image had actually quite mesmerized me about what it was like to survive in those kinds of conditions. And the other image that's been coming to mind, and one that really, really impacted on me, I don't know if you find that when you watch films or series, or certainly with people, there's just moments that have this stand out, like really do make, we say, make the hairs on the back of your neck stand on end. And one of those was in the film Terminator, at the beginning of the second series. And in the first one, the female star, played by Linda Hamilton, she was kind of a chubby, attractive, sort of a babe kind of a character. And in the interim and the opening of the second series, she had been kind of imprisoned, locked into a hospital. And she was now this incredible, strong, fit woman. She was doing pull-ups on the door frame. And she had these amazing muscular arms. And she had transformed herself. And not just transformed herself for the role or in the role. It wasn't makeup. She had transformed herself in life, so that she had become this incredibly strong, fit, muscular woman. And that just stayed with me, that image, that the fact that she'd done that in life, and how her character had then changed in the role in the second series. And it's really interesting to see that now, I mean, I don't know how old she was then, 20s, 30? Well, now she's 63. And she is in the most recent episode, the most recent version of Terminator. And she's playing a woman of her age, an older woman. And she's still got, or maybe even developed it further, this incredible strong physique and fitness. And I was just thinking, whoa. And it just keeps being in my mind. And I realize how before I left India this year, I was very fit from a cycling point of view. I wasn't when I first got to India. When I did my bike tour there, it was quite a struggle. But I became very fit. I was cycling, like I could cycle 100K in a day. in the morning. And I've lost some of that cycling fitness, as we're not allowed to cycle here in France now. But I do fitness training and strength training. It's taken a bit of a back seat while I've given myself rest to recover from this cough. That's my goal, though, is to have that level of fitness. I think it's vital, whatever the circumstances in life, to be fit and strong. So I intend to emerge from this lockdown, with great muscles, and much more so than I have at the moment, which are not great at the moment. But I realized that these images and many more, and Linda Hamilton, although playing a role in a film, was still actually doing this in life, was a model of excellence. And they kind of happened upon me, if you like, rather than me choosing them consciously. And I realized how they prepared me for where I am today, in lockdown, in a pandemic, and needing to be fit and healthy for whatever may be the outcome of this, but just for life generally. And I just wonder if you're aware. I mean, there's been many other people who've been an influence on me, and moments that have been an influence on me, but those particularly come to mind because of my circumstances today. And I just wonder, what have been your unconscious influences? There may be people that you've chosen as exemplars for you, as people to model yourself on, to use that NLP term, modeling. But what are you realizing when you look back? What are those kind of images, people that have really imprinted themselves in your experience and that have shaped you for how you are living your life today and how you want to live your life in the future? So I'll be interested in your feedback on that. So I better get off to do some training.